ago. Thank you guys for coming out today. This topic is a very cool thing that I've been able to study, and there's some things that I want to share with you guys about how paying college athletes can influence your lives and how it can influence the communities that we live in. Today I want to start off with my purpose statement. That statement is going to be, since college athletes are getting paid, we are able to watch players play at a level that is more competitive than before. We are able to see our favorite athletes graduate and move on with their life. And as they move on with their life, we're able to see their education being used in the communities that we live in today. And I kind of hit those three things in there, but I want to clarify them just in case you missed them. So the first one we're going to talk about is the athlete's motivation to be more competitive in the sports that they play. The second one would be how our favorite athletes, how we can follow them throughout their lives and be able to see their education bless them and their families. And the other thing is the change in the communities from paying these athletes. Now that these athletes are getting paid, we're seeing a lot of changes, and it's really cool to see it in our communities. So today I want to start off with the athlete's motivation to compete harder and to go on and improve their skill levels. So I'm sure you guys have been able to watch some college sports and see the change in the stadiums and the sizes of them, and be able to see the fan base grow from not just that small town community, but to a whole range of state and nationwide communities of these fans of these colleges. So there's a quote from the NCAA talking about how these colleges have grown and how they've been able to see the influx of money from that happen. So the quote says, "The number of student athletes competing in NCAA championship sports in 2021 jumped to 520,000. That is an all-time high according to the latest data in the NCAA sponsorship. And according to the NCAA sports sponsors, participation rates report the total number of championship teams across all divisions rose of 20,000 student athletes. So that is 52,000 student athletes going to 540,000 student athletes. Sorry about that. That is a lot of student athletes that are growing in the past 10 years. The past 2 years. The past 2 years, they have rose to 20,000 student athletes new at every single college in any division. That is more than any other recorded history, and it shows that as these colleges are helping these student athletes grow in their lives financially, that students at high school levels and any other level are becoming more competitive, and it shows that these athletes are willing to do all they can to accomplish their dreams and accomplish the goals that they have set for their lives. And that leads us to the next topic of what happens after these college athletes, what happens after they graduate and they move on with life. We'll focus on one college athlete. His name is Blake Lawrence. He was a great college athlete. He played football at Ohio State, and he did amazing things down there. He led his team to a few championships, and now after that he went to the professionals, and he got injured. He had to quit, sadly. He couldn't keep going on with his life in professional football. But he did decide to use his college education that he gained for some type of good. And he opened this business, and it's called Open Doors. And he has a really cool quote about it. And I'll tell you a little bit more about Open Doors. So Open Doors is a scholarship program that helps student athletes who are at the age of high school level, who want to improve their game to go to college level, but don't have the sufficient training or the sufficient funds for training. His business, Open Doors, gives the opportunity for those athletes to go out and to actually have that scholarship business and that scholarship funds, and be able to see the growth in them and also in their communities. And Blake said that Open Doors had just agreed to a partnership with the NFL that they would be able to introduce this platform to the pros, and they're going to be able to take the world by storm, which is amazing. Because once this business gets out there and the community sees it, and all these athletes are now able to use it, they're able to go on to the next level and accomplish their dreams and be able to get an education and change not just their own lives, but the lives of the community that they live in today. And that's the next point I want to talk about a lot, is the change in the communities that happens from these athletes going into them and being able to start it with the knowledge that they have. So we're talking about one other person. Her name is Shantae Lowe, and she was the track star at Western Government University. and she was a very underage track star there. She was very good, but she was really young, and once she graduated, she had to wait a few years before she could compete in the Olympics. And once she did compete in the Olympics, she won a few silver medals, and then she retired and she went back to coaching track at the Western University. And she has a really cool story because even when she was running track and everything and she was doing it as much as she could, she'd be out of town for 90% of her time at college. And almost all of her classes were in person. And so for her to get to those classes, she would have to watch the videos on them and have to learn and take tests and do all these things that she could to pass college and go on to have a successful life. And Shantae, she talks about how she made this opportunity to sacrifice these late nights at college track meets to studying and doing her homework. It says, "It is not unusual for professional athletes to end their career with no backup plan, but I did not want to have that. I would, every night after track meet, I would come back to the hotel room and I would use the downtime in the hotel to stay for my classes and take the assignments and use the Wi-Fi that they provided to do my assignments." And after she did those things, she went on to go on and keep doing a great job at track, and now she's coaching track and using those efforts that she's learned to go help other students that she is teaching to go on and live lives like hers. And as she had those opportunities to be financially, given money at colleges for her talent, she was able to grow and be able to see the change that she had in her life. And that brings me back to all of this, is the purpose of how this is going to help you guys. Well, all these things that these athletes are doing are able to essentially affect you guys in your own daily life. And I know most of you have wanted to play college sports, and you could try out Blake's program, his Open Doors program, to try and get a scholarship to work some fun, help you take your training to the next level and help you produce your skills and become better and become more prospective. That's why I want to finish it up by going over the purpose again and talking about how it can really help you. And it says, "Since college athletes are getting paid, we were able to watch players play at levels that is more competitive than before, and we were able to see our favorite athletes graduate, and we were able to follow their lives. And as we follow their lives, we're able to see their education and use in the communities that we live in today." It is really cool to see the blessing of these financially stable athletes in our lives, and I hope that as you guys go out through your lives, that you can look to these athletes and look to the future athletes to see what can change in your life. And thank you for coming out tonight, and that's my speech.